Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM, AM 630. WMAL.
My Republican friends, these poor folks, are being led like puppets by Grover Norquist. They're giving speeches that we should compromise on our deficit, but never do they compromise on Grover Norquist. He is their leader.
So the puppet master is here, Grover Norquist, as Harry Reid calls him, joins us now on the phone. Good morning, Grover.
Delighted to be with you.
So 60 Minutes did a big piece on you last night. Just curious, did you think it went well? Were you happy with the outcome of their little piece on you?
I was, because it made the point that members of Congress who signed the Protection Pledge, 38 members of the House, a majority, and 41 senators, 13 governors, 1,300 state legislators, their commitment in writing is to the voters of their state, their congressional district. It's not to me, which is Harry Reid's misunderstanding. Of course, Harry Reid has never signed the pledge. Of course, he ever met a tax increase he didn't vote for.
Right.
But those people who've actually signed the pledge and voters know that some politicians go to Washington and say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to raise your taxes. I'm going to go reform government down in size and cost. The alternative is, when I see something shiny and new, I'll just raise your taxes to pay for it. I don't have the time or the energy to reform old programs, to end programs that didn't work.
All right.
Politicians who raise taxes don't reform government.
What happens to Republicans who don't sign the pledge?
Well, over time, they've tended to retire. We started the Taxpayer Protection Pledge, making it available to people back in 1986. 20 people in the Senate that year and 100 in the House took it. It was in 1994, in that election, after people had watched George Herbert Walker Bush take the pledge never to raise taxes and win his primary against Bob Dole, take the pledge and defeat Democrat Mike Dukakis.
Right.
But then when he broke the pledge, he lost the support of the American people. He got 38% of the vote. He had a very successful presidency on foreign policy.
But do you work against Republicans who don't sign the pledge? Do you try to get them primaried?
Well, we certainly inform all voters who's taken the pledge in primaries and in generals. The good news for us is voters tend to want their taxes lower, not higher. So if we just tell you who's on which team, that's an advantage to the person who signs the Taxpayer Protection Pledge. If the Democrats believe for a moment that the American people shared their enthusiasm for higher taxes and higher spending, they would campaign against people saying, vote for him, he won't raise your taxes.
All right, Grover. Okay,
so
we got this thing going on now where the super committee apparently is going to announce today that they can't come up with a super deal, and it's going to be a super failure. But the next step would be something called sequestration, where automatic spending cuts, actually cuts in future spending, the rate of future spending will actually be implemented. Is this a good thing in your mind?
Well, it's better than not cutting spending at all. There are better ways to cut spending than across the board. And the good news is that we have a full year before the sequester would kick in. So let's have an election and elect a different Senate and a different president and take the lower spending levels but maybe allocate it differently.
But this debate is far from over because, we have to come up with another spending agreement by December 16th. Is that correct? I mean, we've got unemployment insurance to deal with, the AMT. There's a lot left to do this year. What do you think is going to happen between now and the end of December?
Well, I think the Democrats have to deal with the fact that they've wildly overspent. I mean, Bush spent too much, but that was really put into hyperdrive under the Obama years, who's made every challenge Bush had, Obama has made worse, significantly worse. We're now going to spend the next year having two competing views on how to govern. The Democrats want to spend more money. The Republicans don't want to spend as much. So there'll be a compromise on how much we spend. There will not be a tax increase. There will be a compromise on how much we rein in the overspending. Remember, Republicans already put something on the table, passed through the House of Representatives, the Ryan Budget Act, which saves $6 trillion over the next 10 years. Everything less than that is a compromise on their part, and I think, frankly, we've already compromised enough.
On the pledge itself, does the pledge mean that you're not allowed to raise taxes on any one period at any time, or is it all based on the total amount of money that taxes bring in? For instance, could you raise taxes on, say, those who make over $250,000 and lower taxes on those who make under $250,000? And if the net gain is, taxes are actually decreased overall, is that something, or is that against the pledge itself? What exactly does the pledge say?
Sure. Two things. One, the pledge, you can always go to atr.org if you ever want to double check on the actual wording of the pledge, atr.org, our website, and the list of people. But the pledge says no net tax increase. Okay. If you want to get rid of a stupid deduction or credit in one place and reduce rates in equal amount, absolutely. Congressman Pompeo of Kansas has a bill that says get rid of all tax credits on energy, whether it's oil or natural gas or windmills or solar, all of those tax credits try and tell you what kind of energy, or ethanol, get rid of all of those and reduce marginal tax rates by the same amount dollar for dollar. That will test whether somebody's for tax reform or whether all they really wanted to do was raise taxes.
I want to mention that you're going to be part of the 18th annual Funniest Celebrity Contest here in Washington here on November 30th. You working? You got your funny on?
We are working. I'm practicing. We're going to have some tough competition. Lanny Davis, great longtime Democratic activist. Alan West, the Republican congressman from Florida, is going to be there, and Scott Brown, the Republican senator from Massachusetts, tosses out the first official joke.
And I don't know if you know this, Grover, but I'm going to be one of the judges, so, bribes are being accepted at this time.
No bribes.
No, I'm just teasing. But I'm going to be a tough taskmaster. I'm just giving you fair warning.
Now, are you going by number of laughs? Are you counting laughs per minute? Or
it's like the Supreme Court definition of pornography. I'm not sure I can define it. I just know it when I see it. I know funny when I see it.
Okay.
So be funny. All right. Good.
Thank you, Grover, as always.